What is going on, everybody? I am Junkyard James. This is the Beyond the Junkyard podcast. Welcome to the live stream this week. With me, as always, is the man that likes to keep it real and keep it saucy, Kody Marinara. How are you doing, my friend?
If you just asked me a question, it was the hugest lag, and you were frozen for about 5 seconds. So, you want to restart that question? Off to a good start tonight.
Oh, absolutely. The technical difficulties are coming a week late. I was just saying, how are you doing, my friend?
Oh, I'm doing quite well. It's crazy how we're into week number 2 of 2026. Yeah, I it's wild, but I'm doing all right. Doing good on this Thursday evening. Um, things are happening in the sports world. We'll get to that, but yeah, we're sure rocking an Juventus hat because it's the only team right now that's doing kind of good besides the Clemson Tigers. But yeah, how are you doing, sir?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. I'm gonna be completely honest. I think there's a lag somewhere, so I'm trying to figure it out. But we'll keep going until somebody falls off. So yeah, no, we're doing good. It's going to be a great episode tonight, and like you said, there's some major things going on in the sports world. That's where we will start the show. Um, as soon as he shows back up. But until he shows back up, I will introduce this show. Thank you to all of our sponsors: Dubby Energies, StubHub, WWE Shop, RSS.com. He's back. Okay. Yeah, go check all the links in the description, and you can support the podcast that way by using those links. If you want to join our Discord server, well, we have a treat for you. Here is a QR code. Scan that QR code. Join the real wrestling community. Let's build a community of pro wrestling fans. If you're watching this on the YouTube channel, go ahead and hit that like and that like button. Subscribe to the channel. Turn on those notifications. That way you can be notified every time we go live every Thursday at 9 p.m. here at the Junkyard Media Group. Let's start jumping into some of the sports conversation. This weekend, starting Saturday, the NFL playoffs are underway. First question of the night: who's your favorite to win it all? Ooh, still might be having. Can you hear me, friend? Uh-oh. Let's see. Alrighty. Oh. We'll wait for him to hop back on. I think there might be some technical issues on his side. While he's coming back, join us in the chat. Let us know. We're talking NFL playoffs here to begin the show. All right. Maybe the third time is the charm on this one. I don't know. Are you there, my friend?
I think so. This is more like us having technical difficulties. This is a beyond the junkyard staple right here.
Alrighty. Let me ask the question again. NFL playoffs are starting Saturday. Who's your favorite to win it all this year? Nope. Nope. We got him back. Oh, he's on the phone. It looks like.
Can you hear me? Okay.
I got you. All right. I think this might work. Third time's a charm, maybe, on this question.
Let's hope so. Hopefully. Sorry.
NFL playoff start Saturday. Who's your favorite, at least initially, to win the whole thing this year?
So I'm gonna pick one on the NFC side. Got to me, the Rams are one of the big favorites. I think that they have been rolling as an offense over the last few weeks. I think they have a little bit of a chip on their shoulder on this weekend. The AFC side of things, I think the Bills. I think that the Bills. Wild issues there, but I think that they have a good chance to finally get it done this year. So I guess we'll see what happens with that.
Yeah. I believe I heard you right. You said the Rams on the NFC, and he dropped off again. Oh, good grief. Okay. All right, he's back. I don't know what's going on, but
I don't know. the voodoo is in.
Yeah. Here's what happened. I bragged last week that we had no issues on the show with this new server software that we're using, and so because I bragged, we're having a whole bunch of issues. I believe I heard you right. You had the Rams and the Bills. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. On my end, that's my Super Bowl favorite. Is also the Rams and the Bills make the Super Bowl. I know we live in the Carolinas, so Panthers fans are a little optimistic that they can beat the Rams again because they shocked the world a couple weeks ago. I don't see it happening. I think the Rams, they were the unlucky members of the division of doom this year, having 3 teams in that division make the playoffs. But I think the Rams are probably one of the most playoff ready teams. They have a coach that knows how to win Super Bowls. They have a quarterback that knows how to win big games and big moments. So I got the Rams. And then the Bills, well, I'm a Bills fan, so I hope this is our year. We have Josh Allen and James Cook, and we're going to have to drag the rest of our offense to competency with them too. But yeah, so I'll pick the same 2 teams, the Bills and the Rams. On the flip side, what team do you think might be one and done this year?
I think Carolina's at the top of the list. I hate to say that for Carolina fans, but again, I think that Rams are going to have a chip on their shoulder this weekend. Carolina played a really good game against the Rams when they matched up a few weeks ago, but Sean McVay is really good at adapting and adjusting, and they'll find ways to overcome whatever they didn't capitalize on in Carolina a few weeks ago. So Carolina's one. I have 2 more, and maybe that's cheating. I don't know. I love the Jags. I'm pulling for them. That's the team I'm pulling for in the playoffs this year because of ETN and my boy T-Law. But I think they'll be one and done as well. Obviously, a crazy tough matchup with the Bills in the wild card round. Jacksonville's played really great, but I think it's part to do with the schedule has been in their favor. They do have some good wins as well, but I think that Bills are just they've got the edge. And then I think the Broncos will be a one and done as well. So I think the winner of the Jags Bills plays Denver next week. I think, or at least if the Bills win, they play Denver next week. Um, and I just think the moment would be a little bit too big for Bo Nix and company. And I think the way that Buffalo will have to do things is going to be on the road. They're not going to have any home games, I don't think, unless I guess the 7 seed wins, and I don't think that'll happen. But yeah, I think the Broncos will be a one and done as well. I just don't think that they'll be that team that will move on to either the conference title game or the Super Bowl.
Yeah, so I got a couple as well. I'm glad that I wasn't the only one that had multiple on this one. But if you're watching this live, make sure to comment below. Who do you think are one and done teams? Who do you think are your playoff favorites in the NFL? To me, I think the easiest one for me is the Pittsburgh Steelers. Houston's defense is absolutely the best defense, I think, in football right now. I think the defense can carry them over Pittsburgh, who, quite honestly, was so lucky to get into the playoffs this year. I think the obvious one is Carolina. But the other two that I have are the Philadelphia Eagles. I think they lose to the 49ers this week. I don't like the Eagles' offense. Their defense is great, but at times can give up big plays unexpectedly. And the 49ers, I know it seems like they have several key injuries on some key offensive weapons, but Brock Purdy's been here before. Christian McCaffrey's probably one of the best running backs in the league. And I think the 49ers can come into Philadelphia and pull an upset. And then the last one, I don't think, like, this is the one I'm least confident in. Like, I think I may be wrong on this one, but it would not surprise me if Justin Herbert upset the New England Patriots this week. I love the Patriots in terms of their matchup. They are probably one of the best teams this year. Drake May, obviously, I think is probably going to win the MVP for the Patriots this year. But Herbert's been there before, and granted, he might have one playoff win, but it was on the road against Jacksonville, I believe. And so he knows how to play on the road. I like the Chargers, and like, I think I have the Patriots winning in my prediction, but it would not surprise me if the Chargers upset the New England Patriots this week. Last big moment, thing to talk about in the NFL world is the coaching carousel is open. It feels like there are now, 8 head coaching vacancies looking to be filled. There were several shocking ones, coach firings in the last couple of days. Of all the coaches that have been fired, I guess the question has to be, which one is the most shocking coaching firing for you?
I wrote down 3. I'm not gonna say all 3 because they may be one of yours. So I'll pick 2, but I'll wait to say the second one is all after yours because I don't want to give your answer away either way. The one I'm most surprised about is Harbaugh in Baltimore. I understand that after a certain while, if the team starts regressing, that you got to make a change. And yeah, Baltimore wasn't the 11, 12, 13, 14 win team this year. I get it. But there was injuries. Lamar was out for a few weeks. And they just didn't have a whole lot of, to me, didn't have a whole lot of continuity and chemistry in their whole team this year. I don't fault Harbaugh for that. I think he did well with what they did. They battled until the very last week of the regular season for a chance to go to the playoffs.
Right.
I think that if what's the coach in Cincinnati's name? Zach something.
Zach
Um,
Taylor.
Zach Taylor. If he can stick around after all the bull crap that he's gone through, I don't know how Harbaugh doesn't stick around. Unless Baltimore just literally said, "I'm done. We need to move on and need a fresh start," and that's the only thing I can think of. Harbaugh brought the team to a Super Bowl, second one, so many winning seasons. Lamar Jackson is always a front runner and MVP when he's fully healthy. The team is always a front runner to being one of the top teams in the AFC when you have a healthy team. Lamar and Derrick Henry and all them, and the defense is rolling. But I didn't think that was really going to happen. I thought, you know what, hey, rough season. We battled to the very end. We had a chance to win it on the road. Obviously, the kicker missed a field goal to win the game and send them to the playoffs. Um, but I think that if I were Baltimore, I would have given him one more year to see if that's
Mhm.
something, if it's a trend that's going to continue with them regressing, or if it's just a hey, it happens, regroup, rebound, retool, reload, and let's go to work next year. But evidently, ownership didn't see it that way. GM did see it that way, and Harbaugh's out in Baltimore. So that to me is the most shocking of the ones so far in this coaching firing spree.
Yeah, the hardball move. I think we're going to see in the modern era of the NFL, and this kind of leads into my pick. You don't have as long as a leash anymore, I don't think. To just wait. Things happen very quickly in the NFL now. We see it with quarterbacks. They don't develop quarterbacks anymore. The fact that Michael Penix Jr., it's rumored that the Falcons are done with him and they may be looking for another quarterback, that they gave up on Anthony Richardson with the Colts. Like coaches are going to be treated the same way. And I just think Harbaugh in a loaded AFC, it seems like there was a glass ceiling, and I think there's going to be a couple other coaches that that may not deserve to get fired, but in the transforming NFL world, they might get fired if they don't get to the Super Bowl this year. One being the Bills head coach Sean McDermott, and additionally, I think Mike Tomlin, though he's been there forever. I think he might be on the hot seat if the Steelers don't at least win one or two playoff games. I think the idea is with Harbaugh, look, the last couple of years, like they've had really good teams and they can't get past the AFC title game. They can't get to the Super Bowl. And there's somebody younger with a new philosophy that there may be a possibility that they see what Ben Johnson's doing in Chicago, and all of that. With that being said, my most surprised, shocking firing is Raheem Morris in Atlanta. I don't think he was given enough time to truly rebuild that roster. And for granted, they signed Kirk Cousins and then drafted Michael Penix, and then he's his first year as a coach. So now he has to he had a rookie quarterback that they wanted to play, that they needed to develop. I don't think he was given a fair shake in Atlanta. And I hope he finds employment somewhere else, gets another opportunity, because I mean I think he's a really like a damn good coach, just wasn't given a fair shake in my view. I was kind of surprised about Mike McDaniel getting fired from Miami today. Just because they waited so long to do it. Like, I don't know why they didn't fire him when they fired the GM. Like,
Yeah.
So there's that. But Miami's looking for a coach now. But yeah, I think my most surprise would be Raheem Morris.
Yeah. I don't understand why you don't give coaches at least a 3-year minimum. Because you got to turn over the roster. You got to find your coordinators. You can't expect to be a winner in year one. And you
Right.
hope to just build continuity and build off of the year before and get players reps and experiences, especially the young guys. Um, and I just don't know how you do that in the first 2 years. Now,
Right.
I think an outlier is always possible. CJ Stroud and the Texans the year he was drafted. Jaden Daniels and obviously Washington when he was drafted.
Right.
Both Drake May and Caleb Williams are on their second year, so I wouldn't say them, but they're one-offs. They happen, but
Right.
a lot of things go in their favor. I think the Texans favored from an easier schedule. Washington last year favored from an easier schedule. Um,
Mhm.
so if you go 12-5 with an easier, and I think for the Patriots this year they had an easier schedule, but again, can't solely blame it on that. Yeah, there's talent on the team, but let's say the
Right.
Patriots next year go 6-11, 7-10, 8-9, 9-8. They're going to fire Vrabel
Right.
because he regressed. I mean, it's the world of the NFL. It happens, and I think
Right.
that the not for long tag is for surely true when it comes to coaches. But
Right.
everybody's got so much pressure to perform and perform greatly in year one, continue in
Yeah.
year two, and just think that everybody's the next Tom Brady, everybody's the next
Right.
Peyton Manning. Guys that
Right.
just even Peyton struggled his first couple years, but still they expect these guys to just come out of college and be the next grade at whatever their position is, and think that that's just going to happen, and the coaches are there to
Right.
win automatically, and not always the case.
Yeah.
I would say though that even though it's not a head coaching thing, I was a little surprised we fired Cliff Kingsbury, but I'd be glad to take Mike McDaniel as a OC, and I already have the first round pick for Washington this year for pick 7. It's not an offensive player. It's not a defensive player. We need to draft this kid, Kenny Arrow from Ole Miss, the kicker. This
From
guy doesn't miss.
from Cornelius, North Carolina.
My man does not miss, and especially uh, longer field goals. He just made a 58-yarder just a few minutes ago. We need a kicker so badly. Drop everything and draft him 7th overall. It will not be a wasted pick. It'd be the best pick we would make this year. Uh, just kidding. But if we can find him in the 2nd, 3rd, 4th round, yeah, we need
All
one
right.
badly.
Yeah. Just final thought here is I don't think people seem to realize how much of an outlier Mike Vrabel and Liam Cohen are to be first year head coaches winning double digit games and winning your division and being the 2 and 3 seed, and like that very rarely happens. And it just so happened this year in the AFC that the Kansas City Chiefs were not who they typically were. The Ravens weren't who they typically were. The hottest team at one point in the time, the Colts, had an injury bug from hell in the middle of the season and dropped them off a cliff. So I mean, it's very rare, and so it feels very premature sometimes that some of these coaches get fired. I still obviously it worked out for the Patriots, but I still think they kind of did Gerard Mayo wrong. I think the Raiders, when they fired Antonio Pierce, Antonio Pierce was pretty good for the Raiders, and then they came in and they bring in Pete Carroll and then fire him after his first year. To me, that didn't make any sense. But that's that. And that's our sports segment for the week. We're going to jump into what probably everybody who's watching came here for, and that's some pro wrestling content. We're jumping into a segment that everybody loves, and we're going to bring it back this week. It's the mid card meltdown. All right, my friend. What topic in pro wrestling this week made you want to go on a quick rant?
Well, the rant that we had yesterday, I know one of our group chats. I'll let you take the spotlight on that one, and if there's any extra thoughts, I may share with that. But for me, it's the comments that Matt Hardy made I believe over the weekend on a podcast. I didn't do my greatest research in the world and give the podcast credit for what it was and what his exact quote was, but paraphrasing. But I know he went on the podcast and he basically said that TNA is the second best promotion in the wrestling business right now, and it's basically because they got a new TV deal with AMC.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, I didn't realize that AMC is the almighty network on television in the world. I didn't know that once you hit AMC that you are flourishing as a company and are selling out arenas and you're on top of the world as far as the second biggest promotion goes. I didn't know that's what quantifies the second biggest promotion is by jumping onto AMC. I'll be sure to watch that when I'm watching reruns of Gunsmoke, Turner and Hooch, and whatever else happens to be on AMC.
Walking Dead.
Walking Dead, Breaking Bad, I guess. I don't know, but yeah, very interesting statement. And of course, if you're in the company, you're going to represent them, you're going to support them, you're going to fight with them, wave their flag. I get it, but it's not right. It's false. AEW is clearly the second biggest promotion in, I would argue, the world, but definitely in America. On TBS, TNT, which is I believe is in more homes than AMC.
Mm-hmm.
Do they sell at every arena? No, but they constantly, they're on the road 52 weeks a year, pretty much. And they go to arenas and they draw 2,700 people every show they go to. TNA doesn't always do that. TNA doesn't go live every week. Their pay-per-view numbers are shit. The ratings, we don't know what they are because the network that they previously were on didn't release them because nobody cared, nobody watched, and even though that didn't have it, didn't really care for to watch it. So hopefully AMC will release their ratings so we can see how good or not good that they are doing. They don't draw pay-per-views as far as buy rates. And if it wasn't for WWE's partnership, they probably wouldn't be dead because I don't think TNA will die. It's hard to kill them, but which is, funny enough, apropos for one of their pay-per-view names, hard to kill. But in general, they were at one point the second biggest promotion, fell off a cliff, almost died, rebounded, became good again, and then they're there. They're all right. They're another alternative to the alternative. If it wasn't for WWE's partnership, who knows where they'd be? They probably wouldn't have a TV deal. So good for them, and hopefully they do well. But sorry, Matthew, they're not the second biggest promotion in the world.
Yeah. That's insane. All right. My mid-card meltdown rant of this week isn't really a rant, but to me, it's justification for what I've said on this podcast for the last 2 or 3 years. Finn Balor hopped on the What Do You Want to Talk About podcast with Cody Rhodes, and said the following quotes. When NXT UK started, which was a huge thing at the time for British and European wrestling, I feel like it kind of took all the talent and it starved all the indies, and it took a long time for them to rebuild. And for a lot of them, it hasn't even happened yet because there's no one to learn from or look up to. Like guys like Tyler Bate and Pete Dunne and everyone else who came to WWE. So now the younger guys don't have anyone to look up to learn from. So I feel like there was probably a huge negative effect on the talent that WWE took out of that territory, but slowly it's starting to rebuild. And this is what I've said for countless years now, 2, 3, 4 years now. This is, I think, the argument that got me kicked out of a wrestling server several months ago, was that NXT UK effectively killed the UK independent wrestling scene. And everybody seemed to think that I was just some AEW shill who was just trying to make WWE out to be some sort of bully. Well, now you have your own talent saying the same thing that I have been saying for the last several years. And I know the response from the WWE drones that come out of the performance center of Markdom for them are going to say, well, that's just business. But if your version of business is undermining development talent so that you can get the best talent and they can get the table scraps, ultimately at some point in time you end up destroying your development to the point now. Why do you think WWE had to change focus from getting already made? And funny enough, we're going to probably talk about some of the same stuff to end of the show today. But why do you think WWE has made this transition to get former college athletes instead of already trained pro wrestlers? Because the already trained pro wrestlers are already in WWE. They've taken all of the developmental talent and they've destroyed the indie scene in several territories to the point that there's no development in these territories anymore. I mean, the UK wrestling scene used to thrive. It wasn't just Rev Pro and the other like big indie promotions in the UK. You had like What Culture Pro Wrestling. You had all the other like local, territorial, smaller, independent stuff where every single wrestler that WWE took for NXT UK came from. And Finn Balor's right. So now the young guys growing up, they don't have a Will Ospreay or a Zack Sabre Jr. to really develop themselves. They don't have a Tyler Bate to learn how to run the indie scene. They don't have a was it Mark Fletcher, I think is his name. One like there were several British wrestlers. They took Wolfgang and Gallus and took them out of the indie scene there. Joe Hendry came from that independent scene. And so you pull them out and now you don't have any vets to train the young guys. And so now the young guys are having to figure out a way to get noticed. And it's hard to get noticed when the biggest promotion is across the Atlantic Ocean. And so I don't know. I feel vindicated to feel the way that I felt for the past several years. Coming from somebody, I enjoyed watching NXT UK. I just think the net benefit of the program is actually a net loss when you look at the damage it did to the UK independent wrestling scene. And I think you give it 2 or 3 years and you'll feel some of the same effects in Mexico and other territories around the world where WWE is just picking the best of the best and leaving the development talent to kind of defend for themselves. Any comments on what Finn Balor had to say?
I think you did a good job at summing it up for the most part, and for the most part, the thoughts that you shared, I feel as well. Do I think COVID had an instrumental part in it too? Sure, but I think that the damage was already done from what happened, and COVID was just kind of like the final nail in the coffin for it at that point in time. If COVID hadn't done what it did, or if COVID was never around, I think it still would have done, if not the same effect, pretty darn close to it.
Yeah.
Of continuing to wreak havoc on the indie scene in the UK.
And I don't like the COVID argument, to be completely honest, because COVID affected all wrestling territories. Japan, England, all of Europe, all of the United States. You didn't and some United States wrestling indie promotions died off with COVID, but not at the percentage that the UK scene did. And the reason that some of those promotions weren't able to stay around is once the lockdowns were over, by that point in time, all of their top talent were in WWE. So now you don't have a marketable name to sell tickets to go see talent. That's why, like, I love that Mercedes Moné is doing what she's doing by helping out some of these indie promotions, because that is a marketable name that you can sell tickets for. And she may only be there for one show or two shows a year, but those are going to be your best selling shows of the year. And and like, that's what the independent scene thrives on. Like, that's why, like, in a couple of weeks here, the local independent promotion here, Mark Henry's going to be in town. And that's it. Like, he's not going to wrestle, obviously, but you can promote a recognizable face and Mark Henry and get somebody to buy a ticket that may not have bought a ticket had he not been there. AJ Francis shows up a lot of the time at some of these indie shows, and he's a recognizable former WWE guy. So I don't know. I just I don't like the COVID argument. I think when you take the vets out of a system and leave the new, like, in any industry, if they fire the trainer at any job and force the newbie to figure out how to do the trainer's job, you're going to not be as productive. And I think in this industry, if you're not productive, you're not selling tickets. If you're not selling tickets, you're not making money, and eventually you're out of business. So yeah, that's what I got to say there. We're going to transition to some ticket talk. It's been obviously 6+ weeks since we've heard some ticket news. So give us the latest scoop on how some of these wrestling shows here in the future are selling.
Yeah, it's been a minute. I obviously didn't want to go back and do any of the previous, like, 2025 shows, so I tried to be as up to date as possible. Of course, gotta thank our affiliates for all that they do for us, including SubHub. We usually use them as a sponsor for this type of segment, so appreciate them for sponsoring. And for your ticketing needs, go to SubHub.com. Of course, we have a link, I believe, in our description here on the YouTube channel. So and X if you guys are watching as well. But anywhere you're watching, go to the description, click the link below, help support the podcast, and go to SubHub. 100% buyer guarantee. I don't have the full script like I usually do right here in front of me, so because we had to pivot, and I'm using my cell phone, so it is what it is. Which I will say, the beautiful iPhone 17 does really well on this stream, so I like that. But anyways, go to SubHub. Use the tickets there. You can buy for any sporting events, live events needs. And like it's 100% buyer guarantee as well. So you know that your ticket is legit. And if it's not, they will give you 100% guarantee money back for your purchase. On to some of the tick talk for tonight. We're going to first start on the AEW side of things. Last night, they were at the BOK Center in Tulsa, Oklahoma for Dynamite. Final count there was from WrestleTix today at 2,951. It's a big arena. I don't like them using these kind of arenas where they can only sell a third of it. I don't know if there's any other smaller arena or music hall in Tulsa, but they need to use something else. I did like the setup last night as far as the stage goes, but it kind of had a bigger feel to it on TV. But in general, when you're using these big arenas and you're only selling a third, it doesn't look really good. But last time they were here, they sold 3,274, so a little under 300 tickets less that they sold last night than they did the last time they were in Tulsa, which was February 2024, which is ridiculous that Tulsa, Oklahoma gets a show in 2024 and 2025, yet Charlotte has not seen a show yet in 2025, and who knows if you will. Anyways, next one we're going to go to is Revolution for AEW. It's going to be on March 15th at the same arena, Crypto.com, formerly known as the Staples Center in Los Angeles. Right now, as of today, the current distribution is 8,025. It's set up for 8,700. That number will grow, both the tickets distributed and the current setup, once they open up more rows and sections, of course. About 66 days to go, and the last time they were here was obviously Revolution last year on March 9th, 2025, and they drew 11,670, so they're only 3,645 tickets away. Doesn't seem like a lot with 30 or 66 days to go. They should easily get to that number, easily exceed it. We should hopefully get into the 14,000 threshold for this year. It'd be great to see that. Really good jump from last year to this year, and that market is, anytime you get a net gain in that market is great. So kudos for that. We'll move on to the WWE side of things. Raw this past Monday, the 5th of January, first Raw of the new year, was at Barclays Center in Brooklyn. Drew 13,259. Last time they were here for Raw was a little over 5 months ago, August the 4th. They drew 11,219, so they were up 2,040 in the same arena. Elimination Chamber at the United Center in Chicago, Illinois, February 28th of 26. Right now, they are at 12,072 tickets sold with a current setup of 14,518. It'll be a sellout. Easily see that's going to happen. I didn't write down how many days they have to go, but it's over a month, about 30 or maybe about 40 some odd days to go. But they'll easily sell that out. Lastly, I wanted to get into a little bit of the TNA side of things as well. So we're going to get into the first TNA Impact on AMC, which is January the 15th, a week from tonight, at the Curtis Caldwell Center in Garland, Texas. The last update from WrestleTix was as of January 4th, so 4 days ago. They have only sold 1,602 tickets with a current setup of 3,070. Last time they were in that arena was for TNA Genesis, a pay-per-view premium live event, whatever they call it, back on January 21st of 25. So about a year ago, they sold 3,622, had announced attendance of 4,032, but we're going to count the 3,622 because that's how many tickets they actually sold. So they're about 2,020 tickets away from matching that for Impact next week. But they're also going to be in the same arena, Curtis Caldwell Center, 2 days later, a week from Saturday, the 17th, for Genesis, their next pay-per-view. Currently, they've sold 1,896 tickets. They have the same setup of 3,070, so they need 1,726 to match for that. They should be able to match, if not exceed, for the pay-per-view, but pretty bad number a week away from their first live event on AMC, and they're not even hitting the 2,000 threshold. So sure, that number will inflate somehow, some way. They usually do. And it'll be interesting to see what the final count will be for next week for the first Impact on AMC. It'll be interesting to see if we get any kind of ratings information out of them. And then it'll be interesting to see what their pay-per-view number does, how it draws, and what the buy rate looks like for that as well. And that is this week's TikTok.
All right. Yeah. The funny thing with TNA is I think it's going to be hard to tell a buy rate because I think they run their shows on their streaming platform. So I think they, and tell me if I'm wrong here. I haven't watched TNA in quite a while, but I'm pretty certain you just got to buy the monthly subscription and you get the pay-per-view included. So gotta say a huge shout out to the man DJ Wavy D tuning in. He said he fell asleep and lost track of time, but he's popping in here. Welcome to the show. What you missed, Wavy D, was technical difficulties.
Yeah. Putting it mildly.
Alrighty, let's go into some wrestling news. The anniversary show of Monday Night Raw, the 1-year anniversary of them being on Netflix, aired on Monday. They had that Stranger Things theme. From what I heard, the fans really didn't like it. And tell me if you watched Raw on Monday. Let me know what your thoughts were on it. I didn't pay it no mind. But I wanted to bring up the theme of today's episode, the title of the episode. There was a big rumor, a very big rumor that Y2J himself, Chris Jericho, was going to make his WWE return. Wavy D says the Stranger Things crossover was dumb as fuck. All right, there we go.
That's all we need to know.
That's all we needed to know.
That's our WWE liaison right there.
Yep. So yeah, Chris Jericho didn't show up. First question is, when's he going to show up? Is he going to show up? Tony Khan was mentioned, was it yesterday on some wrestling show podcast, that he loves Chris Jericho dearly. So, is he showing up in WWE? Are we going to have the Monday Night Raw version of the Jericho Vortex?
Yeah, I think he'll show up at the Rumble. It'll be a surprise entrant. Best place to do it is just get that big pop with the big crowd at the Rumble, even though it's a Saudi crowd. That's all I got. I don't know why you would waste that surprise in Saudi Arabia. And yes, I'm saying it as a waste of surprise because the Saudi Arabian crowd is nothing like Canadian crowd, an American crowd, a UK crowd.
Right.
So I feel like we're wasting his surprise unless they wait until the Raw after, which I don't know if that's also in Saudi Arabia, if it's not taped from the week before. My guess would be that they probably would either stay in Saudi Arabia and do a show there, or they would just have a show taped. I don't know. I'm pretty sure they'll probably stay over there unless they want to get everybody back the following day on Sunday and send them straight to Raw. I don't know how that's going to work. But yeah, it's going to be at the Rumble. We'll get Mr. Jericho.
Yeah, I think that's the logical assumption that we should assume, is that he's going to show up at the Royal Rumble. But I do think that's where he's going. I think he's kind of dumb. It would be kind of dumb for him to stay in AEW at this point. So yeah, I think he'll show up at the Rumble. It would, I don't know. It would be kind of dumb, in my opinion, to have him come out before that. Because I agree, it's a wasted surprise, but it's a surprise nonetheless. And that's something that the Royal Rumble has kind of been lacking here recently, is the surprise factor. Like when Cody Rhodes came out 30, we kind of knew Cody Rhodes was coming out 30. They spoiled that. And so I don't know. They tried a surprise last year with the Women's Royal Rumble and had Nikki Bella come out last, and everybody hated that. So Wavy D says Raw had some amazing TV matches, but they had way too many ads, especially early, and it didn't have the signature opening promo to set the show. Yeah, they I think they tried to fit that Stranger Things audience in there, and Stranger Things isn't pro wrestling. It's yeah. Um. Anyways, yeah, Jericho. I think he shows up at Royal Rumble. So, just an interesting question for you. What would it take for you for the WWE to do to get you to watch WWE more frequently? I think for me and for you, I think we're both honest to say we don't watch a whole lot of WWE. So what would it take for you? What would it take WWE doing for you to be like, you know what? I'll watch it weekly again.
To me, it's giving better, just more authentic feeling, real feeling storylines, promos. Um, Ones that I feel I can really captivate myself into and be like, oh yeah, this guy really doesn't like each other. They really don't like each other. Let the matches tell that side of the disdain for whoever they're fighting. Just make the storylines feel more genuine and authentic and real. But I don't want the millennial. You said some shit on social media. I want to fight you. That can work in some aspects, but just be like, hey man, I don't like you. I don't like the way you talk. I don't like the way you walk. I don't like the way you fight. I don't like the way you conduct yourself. I don't like your group. I don't like your girl. Cool. You don't like me? Let's fight and set up that storyline that way. Give me some good in-depth promos with that, and give me less WWE style matches. Give me less WWE predictable matches. I feel like I can predict the WWE pay per view much better than I can in AEW in some ways, because WWE typically has a style, and the heel goes over on Monday. The faces win on Sunday. If the faces go over on Monday, the heels usually win on Sunday.
Yeah.
And then the style of matches, it has a WWE feel to it, and it's tried and true for the most part. It works in most cases, and I know that we're kind of catering to the younger than 18 crowd, but it doesn't have to be flippity 24/7. I don't need that all day every day.
Right.
I like a little bit of that, sure, but I'm okay with having a brawling physical style. I'm okay with having a ground and pound style. I'm okay with having a technical match. Give me a blend of everything. I don't want a WWE themed style type of match, every show,
Yep.
365 days a year. I don't want it. I don't need it.
Yeah, for me, I think what would get me to watch, what really turns me off about WWE right now is just how in your face they are with their corporate ad camp. It just really feels like they're not catering themselves to what the audience wants, but rather what their ad sponsors want. Like Wavy said in his comment that there were too many ads in Raw, and that just really turns me the wrong way. Like the fact that sometimes you can have 3 commercial breaks on a Monday Night Raw before anything of substance is actually, brought up. And I'll be honest, the AEW Dynamite show on Wednesday last night was exactly what I love. It almost felt like a pay-per-view. There was no empty space. All 2 hours and however many minutes of overage time that they got. I almost used stoppage time as if it was a soccer match, but
They got a soccer hat on. That's why.
But all the run over, all of it, it felt like there was a match. Like Moxley's match to open the show went 29 minutes and 55 seconds. The next match went like 15 minutes. So and then the first promo you got was Willow Nightingale, I believe. And that promo was in the middle of the show. And so, like, I think WWE does a pretty decent job with their pay-per-views, especially recently. But their weekly shows are, to me, it just feels like the marketing team is writing the show and not the creative team, because it's just ad after ad after ad after ad. And so it's not necessarily that the product itself is bad. I can't get into it when you're just advertising to me. Like, I buy premium, I buy the ad-free Peacock, I buy the ad-free YouTube premium so I can get away from ads. I don't like advertisements. I don't need you to advertise your product to me. I want to watch wrestling. And so that's that. I feel like I'm missing something that I meant to add to the show. Oh, yeah, what you showed us in the group chat the other night about WWE's pay-per-views being on ESPN. And ESPN released their awards for 2025. And AEW basically wiped them off the map. Tag Team of the Year for ESPN, FTR. Breakthrough Wrestler of the Year, Kyle Fletcher. Best Event of the Year, AEW Revolution. Best Storyline, Tony Storm and Mariah May. Is WWE upset that ESPN is promoting AEW and they're paying them a shit ton of money to have their product? Like, is ESPN that already over the pay-per-view structure of WWE?
I don't know, but I think it's very interesting. I would like to know what the WWE camp feels about those awards and how AEW is featured, especially the event of the year. Whereas WWE had three or four PLEs on ESPN: WrestlePalooza, Crown Jewel, Survivor Series. I feel like I'm missing one, but I'm not sure. Anyways, they had PLEs on WWE for the last, they moved up their PLE schedule to make sure they had it on ESPN. And in the 3 or 4 PLEs that they had in 2025, they couldn't touch what AEW did in all of 2025.
Right.
If anything, I feel like that would be like a shot to them. Like, wow. Yeah, Survivor Series, War Games. But yeah, I do find it funny. I just wonder how the WWE side of things feels about seeing that, and not just one award but multiple.
Yeah.
It's very interesting, but very telling how AEW's were the best wrestler,
right? So I'll say this about ESPN: their wrestling team are not afraid to be honest about their perception of the show. WrestlePalooza got like a C- by the writing team there, and then the writer of that show basically was getting death threats from the WWE smart marks on Twitter. So anyways, yeah, I like how honest that they are. Like, they're not just going to be like, yeah, we host your show, so we're going to say it was the greatest thing on earth. If it was bad, they're going to say it was bad. So I at least appreciate that piece. All right, we're going to move into the question that Wavy D left us with last week on the show, and this is how we're going to end our show. Wavy D does have a trivia question for you that he's going to share. So once he posts that, I'll share it with you. But his question from last week was, if you were running a wrestling school or opening up a wrestling school, what talent would you be looking for? Would it be someone that's kind of like a Logan Paul or a BDE, which, by the way, he got a TNA contract officially this week. Or would it be someone like an Osprey or Kyle Fletcher or someone that's trained to technically wrestle and teach them how to be charismatic? Or on the flip side, would you take a charismatic entertainer and teach them to wrestle? I'll let you answer this first, and then I'll share my thoughts to close the show.
Give me the wrestler to train. That way they can give me better promos and develop their character, develop their charisma. You can fixate the wrestling style that way versus an entertainer. With an entertainer, you got to train them to wrestle. The promo could be okay. They could be kind of raw at it because if they don't have, they can have kind of the give to gab a little bit, but they still got to make their promos make sense and work.
Mm-hmm.
And then they got to learn how to work, especially if they're going to be in a singles match. They got to learn how to work, and even tag matches, you got to learn to work to a certain extent. But it's all about, of course, perception. If WWE is catered more towards the entertainment side of things, less wrestling, so the entertainers there to entertain. They're not there to wrestle good. They're not really there to wrestle much. It's just there to entertain and draw people in and hype up the crowd and market. AEW features better, more intense wrestling. Entertainer there would need to train a lot to be able to look good in the ring because AEW, even though they put Shaq in the ring, they didn't do too much with him. He looked kind of good, but obviously he's a bigger guy, and I think Paul White was in the match as well. They went through a table, and it was fine. He didn't have to put on a 5-star classic, and not every entertainer would need to do that. But in AEW, we have a perception that this is where the best wrestle, so we want you to wrestle. But the entertainer in AEW would need to train a lot. The promos could be done well for both a wrestler coming in as well as an entertainer, because if they're already good talkers in general, or from the entertainment side of things, from their background, if they're good talkers, that side of things is fine. It's just the wrestling side of it. But for me, I'd rather take the wrestler because the wrestling part's already done. And you can mold him to whatever your style is, WWE style, AEW of kind of do whatever you want type of thing. It would just be a matter of, all right, we need to really work on your promo, get you familiar with talking in front of a camera, in front of an audience, live audience, and learning how to craft your words that way. But yeah, that's what I would do. Entertainers are good talkers, and they can promote, market, talk. But as soon as they step in the ring, they're exposed pretty easily. So give me that wrestler.
Okay. I want to start my answer off by saying I don't think there is a wrong answer to this, because I like, kind of like you said, I think it really does depend on what you want, what's the style of show that you're running. If I'm running a wrestling school that I want to mimic the style of WWE, then I'll probably want to take someone that knows how to pop a crowd. And if I'm trying to find somebody that, to match WWE style or New Japan style, I'm going to want somebody that knows how to wrestle. For me personally, if it was me opening a school, I would want a wrestler. In my opinion, teaching someone to wrestle is probably easier than teaching someone to be charismatic. To me, charisma is usually something that you're kind of born with, right? There are reasons that some actors have to take acting lessons to become better actors, or why some wrestlers like the Bella Twins had to take acting classes to be able to do their thing in the ring And those type of things are harder to grasp, because especially in the WWE system where everything's kind of scripted, because you have to know how to remember how to write a script and all of that. So I think it would be it would take more time to teach someone to be able to cut a promo than it would be to teach someone to wrestle. And so as long as I can get somebody in there that knows how to wrestle, over time, the promo will come. But if they're putting on really good matches, I can sell a crowd off of the wrestling ability in the meantime. That's kind of my thought process. I don't think either are wrong. I think either are actually kind of necessary, no matter what side of the business you're in. But for me personally, I would prefer a wrestler, just because I prefer better technical wrestling ability than someone that can cut a promo. For me personally, a promo is not going to win me over. But if you tell me Will Ospreay's fighting Kenny Omega, I don't care what they say to lead. I'm going to watch the wrestling match. So that's kind of how I see it. All right. Wavy D has posted the question. I actually know the answer to this because I watch too much TikTok and I saw this answer. I'll throw it up on the screen here. What wrestling legend invented the 450 splash? He has 3 hints if you need them.
450 splash. Oh boy. Let me ask if I don't have a YouTube chat up because I'm using my phone. So if you immediately get the answer, let me know. Is the wrestler that invented it of Japanese descent? Would be my first inclination.
The answer is no. He hasn't posted it, but I can tell you no. I know the answer to this. So,
well, I mean, listen, just making sure it's correct.
Hey, I'll do this. I'll have Wavy. I'll let him say it. Go ahead and throw your 3 hints in the chat.
Is he American?
He is American. I'm pretty sure he's American. I'm gonna be honest. You might get it. All right, here you go. Hint number 1. This wrestling performed the move in 1987 on a televised match.
Okay. So is this NWA, WWF, AWA?
This was...
I think that would be...
This was in the Indianapolis-based World Wrestling Association.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I mean, if it's an indie name and he has not really been showcased on the big WCW Triple Crown winner. Okay. All right. We're getting somewhere.
So when you think of the 450 splash, right? You probably think of someone smaller and athletic, right?
Yes, but I immediately didn't go there. I thought that he was a mid-sized guy. I wouldn't say he was like a 6'4" giant, but
So what you're saying is it's not Brock Lesnar, right?
I mean, listen, Brock can do a shooting star press, but he doesn't do it great.
He's asking if you want the last hint.
Yeah, go ahead and give me the last hint. The WCW Triple Crown one. That's got me intrigued. Is it Brian Pillman?
No.
No. Okay. I don't think Brian Pillman was a WCW Triple Crown winner, anyways. Triple Crown
winner. Oh, that's a good hint. This is gonna give it away, but all right, you ready?
Yeah.
He is the leading mathematical genius among wrestling
You
historians.
have to say that part. You could have said something else, but all right. So Scott Steiner.
Scott Steiner invented.
Scott Steiner. Interesting.
At the time, they called it the 1.5 Superfly, but it's essentially
450 sounds a little bit better.
Yeah, 450 splash. Oh, good stuff, Wavy. We'll have to get another one. We'll have to get another one of those trivia questions. You can be our trivia extraordinaire on the show. But that's all I got for you. I told you I would try and keep this as little over an hour as possible, given the fact that the first 10 minutes were technical difficulties. We're kind of there at that hour mark. That's all I really got at this time. I just gotta thank everyone for tuning in. If you've stayed to watch the show, if you're watching on YouTube, go ahead, hit that like button, smash the like button, subscribe, turn on the notifications. And if you're watching on the social medias, go ahead and follow our Twitter page. That is IBEJMG. Follow that Twitter page and support the Junkyard media groups. Go to our merch store. That is beyondthejunkyard.com. Use the code saucy. You can save 25% off your order. All of our other affiliate sponsors are our affiliate links are in the description box below this video. I think I've sold the show enough. I said I don't like ads, and here I am cutting a big ad read. I'm gonna send it over to my man on the iPhone 17 for the final words.
I kind of hope I don't stay on the iPhone 17 because it's such a small look at my phone compared to the fact that I have a laptop right here. I don't know what happened. Maybe next week will be better. Maybe because of the fact that Raw has Stranger Things this week. Maybe they sent a Demogorgon or Vecna to disrupt our show. I don't know. I've still yet to watch the last 4 episodes, so we're getting there. We're chugging along, but still got another 4 or 5 episodes to go. So it'll be interesting to see how that goes. Anyways, yeah, I hope everybody has a great rest of the week. Have a great weekend. Enjoy sports. Currently, we've got Miami and Ole Miss battling in the Fiesta Bowl for the chance to move on to the national championship game. And then tomorrow, of course, you got Oregon and Indiana. Big sports weekend. NFL playoffs kickoff. NBA, of course, is in full swing. And of course, you got your wrestling. Collision on Saturday, SmackDown on Friday, and whatever else is in between. So enjoy sports, enjoy whatever else life is going to be throwing your way at you this weekend. Send me stuff over here. As far as like, I've had a headache for 2 months and it won't go away. I'm convinced it's a brain tumor. It's very bad of me to say. My wife hates me when I say that.
Oh my
Sorry, but like my eyes hurt. They hurt. It's like pressure above them and behind them. Got pressure all around here in the frontal part of my head. My doctor thinks it's what's the word? Tension headache. I got sick like right before Thanksgiving. Kind of got over it. Had a sinus infection from that. Got sick again. I've been a mess the last 2 weeks. I don't know. Is this what pregnancy does to husbands? I don't know. I don't know.
It's the man flu.
It's something, man. I'm telling you, it's something. So I'm feeling much better, but I've still got this stuff going on. I don't know what's going on, but anyways, too much sauce maybe. I don't know what it is. I got to maybe either mix up the sauce. I got to do something. Anyways, regardless, thanks for everybody tuning in tonight. Follow the channels from all the social medias from here. Join us next week. Back on the roll again, starting to get our swing of things into motion here. We're starting to getting our feet underneath us. So looking forward to next week and for the rest of the year for whatever we're going to be talking about. Of course, if you want to be a guest, be a guest. We love people. We like to talk wrestling with anybody and everybody. We love to interact with all of you guys. So do that. Until next week, I need y'all, especially for football weekend, when you got the playoffs rolling, is when you need to start delivering the best of the best. I'm talking better than the rest. I'm talking Sensational Sherry, Macho King, better than the best. If you guys have no idea what I'm talking about, go on YouTube, look up Sensational Sherry, Macho King, better than the best. Phenomenal promo. Phenomenal. Anyways, I need y'all to find your best recipes. Make you a big old pot. Put all your ingredients in it. Get that thing boiling. Get that thing hot. Get that thing simmering. Serve it on a dish. Store it. So that way you can make more. Indulge the hell out of it. But what you'll need to do while you're eating it, while you're cooking it, while you're preparing it, while you're storing it, while you're throwing it around the house, is you need to stay saucy. Today and forevermore. So stay saucy, friends. See you next week.
Absolutely. Tune in Saturday. Got the solo show. And I'm gonna leave y'all with one question. Leave a comment after this live stream ends. Put it in the comment section. Do you like our short form content more or less than the full podcast episodes? I want to see how the subscriber base feels on it, because I've been wanting to put more short form content up. It seems to be getting a lot more press than some of the live streams. So got to see how that goes. But let us know in the comments. We'll see y'all Saturday. We'll see y'all next week. This has been another episode of the Beyond the Junkyard podcast.
This is wrestling without the filter.